Hey guys, so I'm sitting here in the parking lot waiting to get my kids from school. Look at me, my hair's done, I've got makeup on, I'm feeling good today. Okay, so I was sitting here thinking and I'm like, what can I do a quick video on? And what I was thinking about is food sensitivities and food allergies. I've had a lot of experience with this and kind of a lot of confusion with it too. So I wanted to just kind of quickly go over that while I have about 10 minutes or so before I have to get my kids. Okay, so I've struggled with, I guess, a food sensitivity issue now for probably almost 6 years. I literally just kind of guessed about what was wrong with me. I went to a naturopath. He kind of pointed me in the right direction. I found out that I definitely was sensitive to what I thought was gluten. I'll get to that. And dairy. So I cut those out and I felt much, much better. But I never really got down to the root causes of what was wrong with me. And so just recently I started going to a like a holistic doctor. They took blood work. They took like poop samples. They did everything to try to figure out what is going on with me. And so they actually found a bad bacteria in my gut that was like throwing off the bad microbiome. So we got rid of that. And they did a food sensitivity panel. So what I want to tell you about the food sensitivity testing is you have to be eating that food currently to know if, or to find out if you're sensitive to that food. So it's like they tested me on everything that I'm eating now, and it came back as I was sensitive to them. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is everything I eat. And they tested me for wheat and dairy, and it was so minuscule. And most people are like, what? Like, I have a reaction to that. You have to be eating it. You have to be eating it currently when you're getting tested to see. Because I guarantee, if you know you're sensitive to like dairy, for instance, and you haven't eaten it in 5 years, if you ate it and then got tested, it would go through the roof. Like, okay, I'm definitely sensitive to it. So you have to be eating the food. Another thing that the doctor told me that I think is really helpful, even though you are sensitive to the food, do not give it up completely unless it is like an anaphylactic allergy. If you're completely like allergic to the food, don't eat it, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what my doctor told me. Don't eat it if you're like severely allergic to it, but if you're just sensitive to it, that doesn't mean, oh, I have to take it completely out of my diet. I'm not going to eat this anymore. What he said to do is eat it twice a week. Eat the food that you're sensitive to no more than twice a week. Don't go over that, because what will happen is your body builds a sensitivity to these foods. So the more that you eat it, if you're already sensitive to that food, you're just going to become more sensitive. But if you cut that food out completely, if your body's sensitive to it and you cut it out for like, say, a year and you never eat it, you put it back in and your body's going to be like, whoa. So twice a week, eat it. Don't eat it more than that, okay? If you're having sensitivity issues in like the form of a headache, you're like, I just can't handle this. Cut it out for 3 months, then try to put it back in and see what happens. Don't take it out completely. I have figured out, and this is just my opinion, this is my perspective, I have figured out that it's not good to take out most food groups unless it's medically necessary, okay? I always thought the gluten-free was always best, but I've come to figure out taking out food groups, in my opinion, it's just not good for the body in general. I think everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. So what I was back to saying about the wheat and the gluten. So, I always just say, gluten was always my thing, which for some people that possibly could be because they could be celiac. If you're celiac, don't eat gluten. But what I did a test with my doctor. They're like, okay, so this is what you need to do. Go home, eat rye and barley, and then see what happens. If you have a reaction to it, you know that you're sensitive to gluten because gluten is in rye and barley. If nothing happens, you know you're only sensitive to wheat. Okay? And so I went home. I ate like rye bread for like a few days. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. So I've got to make some barley too to see if I'm sensitive to that as well. But guys, I think I'm just sensitive to wheat. And I think what it is just years of abuse to my body, not taking care of it, eating crap, junk food all the time. I think that's what's really got me in a place where my body, my stomach was just not having it anymore. So everything I was putting in it was just making it more and more sensitive. So hence came the dairy and the wheat, and now I'm sensitive to nightshades. I'm really trying to get over this. It's just so super duper hard. But anyways, once you take the food sensitivity testing, what you want to do is don't say, okay, I'm giving up these foods for life. Don't do it. If you don't drink cow's milk, or even if you do, there are tons of milks out there. Rotate those milks. So one week you'll drink coconut milk, another week you'll drink almond milk, another day you'll have soy milk. I don't see soy in moderation to be a bad thing. You'll drink soy milk, or you'll drink macadamia milk. Hemp milk. There are so many milks out there you can drink. Rotate those milks every week. Get like the smaller cartons and rotate those milks. That way your body never gets sensitive to it. It never is like, okay, I've had enough and I don't like it, because our bodies, I see a lot of people, and it's fine if this works for them, but I see a lot of people that they eat the same thing for breakfast every morning, same thing for lunch. It's like, they're a creature of habit. And for some people, that they can do that their whole entire life. But for me and my body, what happens is my body just gets used to it and sensitive to it, and then it begins to reject it. So I have to be constantly flip-flopping my food choices all the time to make sure that I'm not eating too much of it to where, my body's like, nope. Because what happened was, like corn, for example, I noticed that I was having headaches from corn. I took it out of my diet for 3 months. Put it back in. I had some tortilla chips at a Mexican restaurant. I was fine. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. I had missed out on popcorn. I had missed out on all these things that corn is in, and I was just eating it like crazy. And then within a week or so, I was right back into the same situation I was in before. I started getting headaches. I started getting muscle tension. I noticed that my body was rejecting it, and I just can't eat that much of one thing at one time. It's all about eating seasonally, switching your foods around, not eating the same thing all the time. For me, that's what works for me. So if you go to a doctor, you have a food sensitivity test done, they tell you all the foods that you're sensitive to, which none of mine were super sensitive, which we've came to the conclusion that the reason why I'm having so many issues with food is not because I'm sensitive to it per se, but because I'm having a detox reaction to it. I can talk about detox reactions in another video, but what I'm saying is, after you have that panel done, don't worry, do what I just said. And then what you can do is the doctor, if they're like a holistic doctor or something like that, they can give you some little drops. So what they're going to do is all the foods that I'm sensitive to, they're going to put it in little dropper, like a little drop thing, and I think it can handle up to like 18 foods or something like that. And you do it under your tongue, and that starts to desensitize you to these foods that you are having these crazy reactions to. For me, dairy, major migraine headaches. So they're going to put dairy in it. I can't eat bananas. I can't eat strawberries. Corn I'm sensitive to. Wheat. They're going to put it all back in the dropper, take it underneath the tongue, and that's really supposed to help you get over these sensitivities. So just, do what's best for you. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what my doctor told me and what's helping me, along with diet and exercise. So, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this. Leave me some questions down below. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I will see you guys very shortly. Bye.